Welcome to ExOrion Echoes, our podcast channel where we explore innovations and topics that impact our clients who are Salesforce users. Today, Alan Bebchik from Inforge, also a Salesforce implementation firm, joins me today to talk about revolutionizing business with Gen AI, unlocking new possibilities through enterprise evolution. Alan, thank you for joining me today. Let's get into it.
Love it. Thank you for having me, Sean. It's a pleasure to be here.
I know you were at the Salesforce event in New York City a few weeks ago. So from your experience at that event, and of course it gave you sort of a front row seat to how businesses are reacting to tools like Agentforce. What's driving both the excitement and hesitations around adopting these solutions?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think before going there, it's important to understand the evolution of AI and where we are today. So where AI started, if we go maybe 10 plus years ago, it was all about predictive AI. What's the best example? You're watching Netflix, you're watching a movie, and the algorithm starts telling you what you might be interested, what you might want to watch next. So that was the first wave. Second wave is what happened probably in the last 3 years. It's the copilots, right? So how can AI assist you with, like ChatGPT type of copilot, help me draft an email, help me plan my trip, but that's more of an assistance. So where we are today and why people are excited is because now we are in the autonomous agent wave, and it's important because what is an agent? An agent is someone that can act on your behalf. So think about like a real estate agent or any type of agent. They're doing things and you hire them to do things. Now we're going to be using AI to really augment the team. And this is why people are excited. So AI, they can work 24/7. AI is grounded in the data that you give them and the context you give them. Computers don't make mistakes. So really, this is a new concept that people are really excited. How can they amplify their teams? How can they do more with less? And this is why everyone in the industry is really excited about agents, and for Salesforce is Agentforce.
That's excellent. I mean, it's interesting how AI tools can vary in focus. I mean, Agentforce in particular is sort of a client-facing innovation. One of the things we're doing here at ExOrion is we built a Gen AI tool called SFDC Config Coach, and it acts as a collaborative AI assistant that guides internal users through Salesforce tasks quickly and with precision, to your point, quite accurately. So between these types of solutions, Agentforce, which is kind of externally focused, and tools like SFDC Config Coach, which are internally focused, how do you see the balance playing out going forward in 2025?
Yeah, so I think it will still be a mixed bag. I think CIOs and our companies are still trying to figure out what to do with AI. I think the good thing is that people are excited about AI. People are willing to try AI. Everyone wants to ride the AI wagon, but I think companies are not sure what they can do with it. So I think it's a good way, or companies are taking. One is, let's try this internally. So before we go and put something in production with customers that's client facing, let's tap our toes and see how we can make AI work from our team. And that's why companies have a lot of internal tools. And once I think with that first internal project, companies see the value and teams see, hey, AI is not as heavy lift as we thought, and it can really deliver good use cases. Now let's try something new in production. So I think internal projects are a good way to start, but external client-facing projects are then they start to take off. And once you do something maybe for sales, then you say, let's do it for marketing, let's do it for commerce, and then you start exploring more avenues you can deploy your agents.
Excellent. Yeah, no, I would totally agree. Obviously, you want to sort of test it out a little bit first, dip your toe in the water so you understand not just the practical application of the technology, but how it actually works. So I know businesses know that they need to innovate, and they often struggle with foundational issues like data quality and integration. So how does this impact the adoption of AI tools like Agentforce?
Yeah, so I think in terms of Agentforce, it's important to understand how Agentforce works and what layers you have. So in the beginning, like the foundation level, to your point, is data, and in Salesforce is data cloud. So if you don't have the right data, the right context, your agents are gonna hallucinate. They're gonna give you answers that make no sense. So that's important. So on one hand, you have your system of record, your CRM, you have your customer data, but you can bring other data sources to your data lake. So you can bring data from Snowflake, unstructured data, vector databases, anything related to that. Once you have that data inside of Salesforce, then it's about what model you're going to use to process the data. So you can use the Einstein Salesforce model, you can use ChatGPT, you can use Anthropic, you can use any model that you want to process that data. Then comes, I think, really where Salesforce differentiates from the competition, which is the Einstein trust layer. I think with enterprise data, you don't want your customer data, you don't want your proprietary data, you don't want all this data going to OpenAI or to other companies that really are using are mining the data. So with the Einstein trust layer, you have secure data retrieval, dynamic grounding, you have toxicity detection, data maxing, there's zero data retention. So I think that really gives enterprises the trust that the data is safeguarded. Once you know the data is secure, then you can use AI tools and builders to create your agents. So you can have prompt builder, you can have your agent builder. So really it's using natural language to tell your agents what you want to do with the data. And then if you keep building up, you have two types of agents. Like we say, you have assisting agents, so agents that are really helping you and kind of coaching you and being on your side. And then you have the autonomous agents, which you define what you want them to do, and they do it on their own. And all of these you can apply to Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Commerce Cloud, to Tableau, to Industry Cloud. So really the opportunities are endless, but I think everything really starts having a solid data foundation.
There's a lot of opportunity in 2025 with this technology, with anybody who has, I think, a strategy in place on how to, at the very least, test out the practical application of this technology, and have a strategy in place for, cleansing and migrating their data, moving it into the data cloud, as you mentioned earlier, the data lake that Salesforce offers, I think 10,000 free licenses on for each user. So, but this is also where I see a collaborative AI assistant stepping in, not to replace roles, but to amplify them. Again, I'm looking at this again from an internal focus now as we switch kind of back and forth in this conversation. So, for example, SFDC Config Coach gives Salesforce users step-by-step instructions that cuts out time wasted searching through trailheads and FAQs. And in fact, right now we're in the process of user testing another new collaborative AI assistant tool that's designed to help Salesforce clients address their challenges with cleansing dirty and disparate data. One of the things that I ran into quite frequently with a lot of our implementations with our clients is the data cleansing part, and most of that has to be done on the client side. There isn't much we can do because we don't know the data. We can't tell what a duplicate would look like because they know their clients better than we do, as an example. So, and that was always a bit of a sticking point. We had one client very large client, where we had a project that was, I think, about maybe 8 or 9 months in duration, and we had to take a 6-month gap because they had 5 ERP systems that they were integrating with, and they had to do data cleansing and data migration from all 5 ERPs into Salesforce. And so they basically walked away for 6 months. For 6 months, they kind of got their act together. They cleansed their data, which was, I think, the first and only time I've seen a client do that in a very structured and controlled fashion. And when they came back, they were ready to go. But that's a rare event, and a lot of clients just don't have the time or the resources or the guidance to get through that process. So one of the things that we've been working on here at ExOrion is leveraging generative AI technology to build a very custom based solution that would help Salesforce clients address their challenges with cleansing dirty data, pulling together disparate data, developing data migration solutions, anything related to addressing that particular problem to put them in a position where they could better leverage the AI technology that's now available to them in Salesforce. So, but what do you think about what do you think is the value of having such a targeted, user-friendly support internally? Do you see value in that? Obviously, as you mentioned earlier, just a moment ago, data is sort of that's the engine, that's the driving fuel for any kind of AI solution. If you don't have cleansed data, you're going to be garbage in, garbage out. So, what are your thoughts about having an approach, a structured approach, maybe an AI-assisted approach to getting your data into a place where you can then begin to take advantage of AI solutions like Agentforce and other generative AI tools?
I think that's a great stepping stone. I think AI is a journey, it's not a destination. So if by having AI internally or some sort of internal copilot to help you prompt people to enter data or help you to make sure that data is entering in the right way, to help you even remove internal people that their job is to make sure that data is entered correctly, I think that will create trust. It will make your data more structured, more efficient, and then the use cases that you can do later on with AI will be more powerful. So I think that's a great first step to making sure you're going in the right direction in the AI journey, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So now Agentforce automates repetitive client-facing tasks like handling queries or managing data entries you mentioned earlier. So in your estimation and from your experience at the that event in New York City recently, which industries or scenarios do you think are getting the most immediate value from it? I'm thinking, in the healthcare industry, in that particular vertical, maybe it's helping them manage patient records. In manufacturing, maybe it's helping them manage inventory. In financial services, maybe it's helping them manage compliance-related issues. I know that's a big topic now. What's your view and your thoughts about sort of the industries that would benefit from it, and how, from your perspective, you think they would actually be able to leverage this technology effectively?
Yeah, so I think it's important first to understand, how these agents work and why so many different industries can benefit from it, because it's not like agents are being deployed for all industries, like a one agent fits all. But really the beauty is that you can customize each agent for the industry and role specific. So first is defining that agent's role. So what is the job they're going to be doing? What actions they're going to be taking on your behalf? So to your point, it could be someone helping a company do onboarding and processing resumes, or it could be an agent that helps you onboard internal employees and help them with enablement and get up to speed on how they need to do their job. Or it could be, like to your point, a medical record agent that looks at pages of medical records and extracts only the information that you need to send to like the insurance provider to process your claim, for example. So really, you need to first define that role and how it's going to help your organization. The next step is making sure that you define the data that agent will be using. If you're using, if you're creating a customer service agent, you're not going to give them data on everyone and everything in your company. You really want to give them access to, for example, if it's a customer agent created to check on order status, give them access to order information, to invoice information, for example, so they can only access that. Then it's what actions the agent's going to be taking. So you don't want agents to be doing infinite number of things, or really what actions, for example, helping me track my order, or helping me find a store nearby, or helping me with an exchange or return. Then also defining guardrails So what things you don't want your agents to be doing? What is outside of their scope? If someone requests something along those lines, making sure that's routed to a human agent, for example. And then lastly, what channel? So how are they going to communicate? Are they going to be a chatbot? Are they going to be in an internal portal? Are they going to be a phone or an email type of agent? So I think it's important to set that straight. Once you define how you want your agent to act, then it's exploring where are inefficiencies or where are opportunities to improve operations in your business. I think the first frontier will be in the service, in the customer service land. I think that's where we're seeing more interest. Anyone taking like level 1 support, anything that can be automated will probably be going on that front. There's a use case, for example, with Klarna. Klarna is a fintech company in Europe. They were able to replace 700 agents using AI agents, and savings of about $40 million for their business by implementing AI. So really, it's understanding how agents can be deployed in your business, any business, any industry. I mean, you have healthcare, you have retail, you have manufacturing. So it's defining where are you spending time on things that can be automated, and then deploying agents so your humans, your employees can use time for that value-added activity, for that white glove approach, for those complex tasks that AI or an agent cannot do. So it's really having that hybrid approach where agents and humans play really well together.
Beyond automation, generative AI has the potential to amplify talent, which is what you were just talking about. How do you see AI enabling professionals to work smarter rather than harder? We were just starting to dig into that a little bit. Do you see synergy between role-based AI collaborative assistants and experienced teams? I think that's kind of what you were alluding to. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's exactly it. So some agents will be completely autonomous, and they'll be, like I said, have a defined role, defined set of tasks that they'll be just using without human intervention. And some really will have a more of a collaborative approach. So it's really, I think, with any company, it's defining, first what's your process, right? What's your business process? Once you map that out, you can identify in this process, in this customer journey, what are the tasks, what are the steps that can be automated. So let's automate those, and the ones that cannot be automated, let's figure out how humans can add value. At the end of the day, I think there's some tasks that people want an agent, or they don't want human interaction. It's if they know they're gonna get an answer, it's let me get the answer and get out. But other times, people want to have that human interaction, learn from human experience. So I think it's having that hybrid approach and figuring out where AI plays best and where human interaction is really the way to go.
One of the things I've learned over the course of the last year, as I've been heavily involved in building out and training generative AI models, is that I know a lot of content that's produced by GPT type models. You can kind of tell it was written by a GPT, but there are I guess configurations or prompts now where they're beginning to make these tools in such a way that these training in such a way that the AI, it's AI undetectable. So it sounds like a human being is speaking. It has some of the, I guess, the natural fumbles or the repetitive nature of some natural conversation baked into it. So it makes it even more and more difficult to really discern whether or not you're actually talking to a bot or whether you're talking to a person. One of the things with SFDC Config Coach, one of the things that it embodies is that it with this technology is that it acts like a GPS for Salesforce users. It helps them to navigate tasks without wasting time. So, for example, admins can create validation rules or set up lead workflows without needing deep technical knowledge or hours of research. So how do you think tools like this shift the dynamic for internal teams? Does it complement the use of client-facing Gen AI tools like Agent Forces, or do you see a sort of a complement between internally focused AI tools and externally focused AI tools like Agent Force?
Yeah, I think the beauty of Agent4 is that it's not one or the other. It's not, my only the Salesforce model or only the external model, but really figuring out which model and which use case play really well on their own. So if you have a coach that really helps the team with maybe systems that are outside of Salesforce or with internal tools, or it's easier to use, then the beauty is you can use it integrated to Salesforce, and then there's probably other agents or other models that will play nicely. So I think it's not that there's no impediment or using one or the other, but it's figuring out which one plays better. Also making sure which one is more user friendly for the employees that are using maybe for certain tasks. You have employees that are not using Salesforce and they're using like accounting systems or other ERP systems, and maybe you want to have those agents being native in those applications, and then when you come back to Salesforce, have the Salesforce native agents or not. But it's really understanding where your employees are spending time, what channels they use, how do they engage with the different technology, and then assessing which kind of agents might be best for them.
So on that note, then let's shift to non-client facing roles like middle and upper management. In your estimation, how can generative AI optimize these roles without creating disruption? Can we leverage generative AI for decision making and reporting and collaboration internally?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think we are there yet in terms of having a CEO agent and having like a VP of sales agent and having a sales manager agent. I think in the future that's kind of what will happen, where you'll have different agents for different roles, and you'll have a CEO agent and an AI agent will be controlling a company, right? But we're not. I don't think we are there yet. So it's what kind of agents and what kind of tools you have today. So I think in terms of managing teams or data processing, I don't think we are there, but what we can do is we can help amplify your team. So if you are in a sales organization, you can have, for example, a sales coach, which is kind of a sales manager, but not quite there. But it's someone that can get transcript of your calls, so it can tell you, are you spending too much time asking questions, or are you spending more time listening? It's listening to the type of questions you ask, to how the tone of voice, the words you use, the length that you speak, so it can help you be better and more efficient in meetings. On sales, it can also help you, for example, manage your pipeline. So are there any opportunities that you haven't acted, or are there any opportunities that are going to stay that you probably owe them a response? Are there any opportunities that you can reach out? So I think that there's value there, but not yet to be like an independent like sales manager.
Of course.
The same with service. For example, a sales manager might be looking always for ways that they can optimize processes. So you can have knowledge article creation, for example. So as your team replies to customer queries or customer tickets, you can generate new articles and new knowledge articles. So you're constantly evolving your knowledge article base, and you can also help your service agents with what are the most relevant responses and knowledge articles or FAQs you can use to answer customer queries. Or marketing, you can use it to create different segments, right? So what are different buyer personas or different industries, different geographies that I want to really be targeted, and what's that content I want to have in my email. So helping on marketing. And then on commerce is you can use agents to, one, help you draft better product description. So maybe can you have different product description for different users, for different type of really personalized. I think Walmart, for example, is investing heavy in having every person will have a custom experience. So the way I see a product, the type of products I'm seeing, the way they are described, the way pictures are positioned, the type of pictures that are shown to me are going to be different to you or everyone else. So that hyper personalization, and also having smart promotions. How can I have that right promotion, that right nudge? So each one will have different triggers, different price point, different type of emotional triggers that will make you buy something. So I think it's we're gonna see that in commerce, and also having that commerce concierge. If you are navigating a commerce site, let's say you're into yoga and you are in like the Lululemon website, it will help you really navigate. Let me find like a yoga mat or like a yoga towel or a yoga block. And if you are into running, it will help you navigate the page on a different way. So I think that's where we're going in that hyper personalization.
That kind of reminds me of that scene from the movie. I'm not sure if you ever saw it, called Minority Report.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where Tom Cruise is walking through a store, and the store, the technology recognizes his face. It does sort of a facial image. I know this is futuristic, but it seems to me that's not that far away. And it knows who he is, and it knows what products he's bought, and then it starts recommending things specifically to him that are tailored in a one-on-one fashion specifically to him as he's walking through the store and ignoring the technology. But that's kind of what came to mind as we were talking about that. And it seems like we're not that far away from having that sort of direct one-to-one marketing. But one of the things I've noticed is that, and this is coming back, of course, to SFDC Config Coach, being a practical element to AI adoption. It's not flashy, but it's incredibly effective for internal alignment. So, for example, admins can quickly manage roles and permissions or configure reports using a tool like this. Again, this is enhancing the skill set of internal middle management folks who you cannot necessarily, to your point, replace with generative AI, like you might, for example, with frontline folks on customer service, for example. So, Alan, getting ready to wrap up, what do you think is the biggest barrier businesses face in fully embracing generative AI, and how can they overcome it? Now, I'm thinking about the challenges that we talked about earlier in terms of data readiness, or also some of the challenges I think that I'm seeing out here is that the use cases are unclear for a lot of people. They hear the technology, they hear what it can do, but it's not abundantly clear what it is, what the use cases are for them. What do you think is the biggest barrier that they face in fully embracing generative AI?
Yeah, no, I think in terms of the biggest hurdle is how can you show that not ROI, but return on AI, right? So how can you find or show that? So I think it's first being able to really, like any project, have a business case on what you're doing. I don't think you should chase AI for the sake of, let me chase the shiny new toy. Everyone's doing AI. I want to be like cool and also say I do AI, but really approach it, as any business project. What's the return on the AI? What's the return on the investment that I'm gonna be using? So to do that, first you need to start at the core. What's the business challenge? What's the pain point I see in my organization? Once you identify the pain point, then how is there a way that you can use AI to solve for that pain point? If yes, trying to figure it out, how much of development that's going to cost you, right? Because to do that, you'll need one, making sure your data is clean, you'll need to hire probably a development team that will need to do that project. You'll need to test it. And on the flip side, you need to see what will be the efficiency. Are you going to be able to make your employees more efficient and do more with less? Are they going to be able to handle, if you have a support team, more like support cases? Are you going to be able maybe to save, instead of hiring people, you don't need to hire any more people, so you have dollars that you're actually savings. You can also measure in terms of customer satisfactions. Are my customers now going to be more satisfied? Maybe is CSAT going to increase? Is maybe average order value, AOV, going to increase over time because I can deliver faster responses, more targeted responsive? Is the customer lifetime value, are they going to be staying for longer as customers and spending more because I can give this tool for them? And then once you have that clear return on AI, then it's really easy to assess if it makes sense or not to embark. And then you have your KPIs. You have something that you can track and measure that you're going against. I think those type of projects are successful, but if you, on the flip side, gonna be just chasing AI for the sake and without a clear direction, without a clear north side, I think organizations can get lost. So I think it's very important to define the scope, define your success metrics, and once you know what you want to accomplish, execute and go slowly. I also don't think you need to do everything and anything, like a big bang AI approach, but really start small, and as you see the value and as you see that return on AI, then start doing more and more over time.
So I have a question for you on that point. This is more sort of asking about your experience and what you've may have came across at the Salesforce event in New York, and maybe other events you may have attended and other conversations you've had. Do you find that the approach to leveraging generative AI for businesses, the adoptability or the level of adoption is different for larger businesses than it is for smaller businesses? And what I'm getting at, Alan, is that I think for those of us who've been involved in really hands-on with AI technology, it's become abundantly clear that smaller businesses can operate at a higher level of performance and can punch above their weight leveraging AI technology. And from where I'm sitting and what I've seen, and I want to see what your thoughts are on this, it seems to me that a lot of these smaller businesses are faster to really leverage and experiment and to see how to leverage that tool to really compete at a level above their punching weight than the larger businesses. But that's kind of like my sense of it. Is that kind of what you're seeing, or do you see something different?
No, this is exactly what I see, and I like, there's like an African proverb that goes, to go fast, go alone, and to go far, go together. And I think that's really why you see smaller enterprises or smaller companies be able to be more nimble and adopt AI and just run with it. I think smaller organizations, in terms of decision making, there's less bureaucracy. It's easier to bring consensus. It's easier to make decisions. It's easier to try things. Stakes are lower. So usually small companies embrace newer technologies faster. But I think the larger enterprises are the ones that really plan it for the long term, and that can really make something that scale and that has a bigger impact. If you're gonna be a small company, maybe you're not processing thousands of calls on a day, so maybe deploying an AI voice agent is not really worthwhile, because maybe you take one phone call a week or one phone call a month, or you never take a phone call. But if you're like a call center taking thousands of calls every hour, then you want to make sure you invest in AI, but you also need to make sure the AI is successful and can operate at scale, which is a different challenge. So I think it's small companies, they'll embrace AI, they'll try things, and they'll kind of be more agile. They'll build, they'll measure, they learn. And large enterprises, they'll take more time, they do things slower, but when they deploy, AI will really have a bigger impact, and it's something that can be done at scale and with a much greater return on AI.
Excellent, thank you. So Alan, we're going to close out. But before we do, I wanted to ask you, so looking ahead, what excites you most about the future of generative AI in business, and what should listeners focus on as they prepare for these shifts?
I think what excites me about this is that this is the tip of the iceberg. One, technology is really moving fast, and it's, a few, like last year we didn't have agents, now like we have agents. So like things are moving at a very rapid pace. So that's exciting. And the other thing that excites me is that as companies start to tapping the toes in the water, they want to do more. Once companies see, AI is not this evil machine that will come and kind of break the world, and it's like the Terminator, that the Armageddon will be coming and the world will collapse and systems will crash. Like once companies see, hey, it wasn't as bad, it wasn't as painful, it wasn't as expensive, I was able to do a small project at a small scale, I'll see the value, let me do the next one. What else can I do? So I think what excites me about it is that as companies get more familiar, more and more use cases will come in live. And two, the other thing that excites me is that AI is not one solution fits all, but really is understanding each company, each function, each team, what agents, what processes you can help them automate with AI. So it's really how can you help companies be very targeted and methodical. So I think there's a lot of opportunities. So that's what really excites me looking ahead.
Thanks for that, Alan. I'm excited about it as well. And you hit on a key point, and I know we kind of laughed a little bit at it, the reference to the Terminator and so on. But it's funny because the conversations I've had with people about AI, that part never actually came out verbally, but it still kind of simmers beneath the surface. And I think that there's a fundamental understanding of AI that most people don't yet have. And there's really two buckets of AI right now. We've been talking about generative AI, which means artificial intelligence that can generate new content. But there's also predictive AI, which kind of sits separate, which then takes certain amounts of data and inputs, whether it's structured data or unstructured data, and then leverages that to make predictions based on that data, looking at patterns that are very complex and that would take a human hours and days and weeks and months and years to sort out, that it can sort out in seconds. And those two really haven't combined to become the self-motivating kind of technology. And I think a lot of people don't realize that generative AI doesn't operate proactively. It's a reactive technology. So you have to ask it, you have to prompt it, you have to somehow engage it for it to then respond. It doesn't sit there and sort of dream things up and then sort of says, okay, this is what we're going to do next. So I don't know that, generally speaking, those who are outside of the use of that technology really understand that of it. But what I wanted to do is, as we're starting to wrap up here, as we've discussed tools like SFDC Config Coach that are designed to shape how Salesforce users approach their work and streamline tasks and reduce friction, I would like to emphasize for anyone listening that I'd encourage you to explore how collaborative AI can unlock new possibilities for your teams. To try out SFDC Config Coach for yourselves, click on the link below. For a free copy of the SFDC Config Coach ebook with over 100 prompts that you can use to start exploring what it can do for you and your organization, give this post a thumbs up and I'll send you a copy. Alan, thank you for joining me here on our podcast channel, ExOrion Echoes, and for sharing your insights. Are you promoting anything that you'd like to share with my viewers?
Yeah, absolutely. So same as you, we love AI, and we are in the Salesforce ecosystem. So anyone that really wants to learn more about AI, even if it's a friendly conversation, I love nerding about these things and just exploring how we can help businesses. So really offering myself as a resource that anyone that needs help on how can you start on the AI journey, how can you deploy AI agents in your organization, how you can optimize your Salesforce instance, anything related on AI or Salesforce, always happy to chat. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Alan, thank you so much. For our viewers, thank you for watching. Please like, repost, and follow ExOrion Consulting on LinkedIn for your Salesforce implementation insights. And that's it. Bye for now. Thanks, everybody.